Hello, this will be lesson 4.1D. We're going to be talking about subtracting fractions today with unlike denominators. So let's get started. Okay, so this is subtracting fractions with unlike denominators by applying the least common multiple and the greatest common factor. It'll be very similar to what we did with addition. The objectives today are I can subtract fractions. That's not popping up better. There it is. I can subtract fractions with unlike denominators. I can subtract mixed numbers with unlike denominators. And I can borrow if necessary. And I can reduce fractions to lowest terms. The objective or the standard objective is 6NS4. Find the greatest common factor of two whole numbers less than or equal to 100 and the least common multiple of two whole numbers less than or equal to 12. And then the distributive property part we've already talked about. So I'm going to minimize myself so that we can see the full screen. So subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. You've already done this with adding, so it's not much different with subtracting. So that's the good news. So fractions can only be subtracted if they have the same denominator. Remember, the denominator is the bottom number. So let's look at these two fractions, 8/11 minus 2/3. Notice how the bottom numbers 11 and 3 are not the same. So these fractions cannot be subtracted the way they are because they have different denominators. So what do? Well, we have to find the LCM of 11 and 3. So each fraction must be rewritten into an equivalent fraction with the same denominator. So we're going to use the LCM. So if I was to bring down my tools here, for 11, I'm going to count by 11s. So here's my 11s. I'm going to count by 11s. 11, 22, right? 33, 44, 55, 66, 77. I don't know how far to go. We'll just stop after I get to 99. And then I have to count by threes until I find my first match with the 11s. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 28, right? 25, 67, 27, sorry. 30, 33. Ah, there it is. Did you see where I found my match? 33. So I am going to use the first match I found, which is 33. And that happens to be the least common multiple, also known as the least common denominator when you're talking about fractions. The other thing to keep in mind is that if you cannot find the least common multiple, let's say it's a really large number, you can always multiply the 3 and the 11 together and use that as your bottom number. The only difference is you may have to reduce later on at some point. Okay, so let me clear and let's continue. So we're going to use 33. There it is, our least common multiple. So now I say 11 times what gives me 33? 11 times 3. So then on the top, I'm also going to multiply by 3. Always multiply by the same number that you multiply the bottom number by. So 8 times 3 is 24. I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. Be careful though, this time we're not multiplying by 3 down here. We're going to multiply by what? 3 times what gives me 33? 11, right? This time we're multiplying by 11. So my 2 up here has to be multiplied by 11 as well. 2 times 11 is 22. Now I'm ready to subtract. So 24 minus 22. Remember, we never subtract the bottom numbers. So we only subtract the numerator. So 24 minus 22 is just 2, right? What is our bottom number going to be? It's going to stay 33, correct? Okay, so 2/33. And there is our answer. Okay, we'll try another one. Okay, we're going to try 13/14 minus 2/7. Now I would encourage you to pause the video, try it first on your own, and then press play again and see if you've got it right. Okay, notice how the bottom numbers are not the same. 14 and 7 are different, so we have to find the least common multiple of 14 and 7. You can start listing, but after a while you get good at knowing what works with them. So let's just notice this. 14s are going to be equal to 14, 28, 42. I think I'll stop there because I already know what it's going to be. 7s are going to be equal to 7, 14, 21. Notice how I can stop because 14s are a match. 14 is my first match, so it's going to be 14. That's good because I only have to change the bottom number, right? So let's clear and use 14. So our least common multiple is 14. So 13 14ths is going to stay 13 14ths. I'm really multiplying 14 times 1 to give me 14. So that's really what I'm doing. So I'm going to multiply the 13 times 1, which really doesn't change it at all. It's just 13 14. So you can just rewrite it over here. And then on the bottom, it's 7 times what gives me 14 here? 7 times 2. So then I have to times it by 2 up here. So 2 times 2 is 4. Now I can subtract 13 14ths minus 4 14ths. Only subtract the numerators. 13 minus 4 should be 9, right? And then the bottom number is stays a 14, right? Okay, that is my answer. 9 14ths. Did you get that? I hope you paused and tried it. Okay, we'll do one more. 5/6 minus 1/8. Okay, the bottom numbers are different, so we have to change it to the least common multiple. So what is the least common multiple of 6 and 8? So they don't have the same denominator. We have to find an equivalent fraction. I'm going to count by 6's. 6's will be equal to, we always start with 6, 12, 18, 4 times 6 is 24, 5 times 6 is 30, 6 times 6 is 36, 7 times 6 is 42, 8 times 6 is 48, 9 times 6 is 54, 10 times 6 is 60. I'll stop there because I'm sure I've got a match. And then 8 will be 8, 2 times 8 is 16, 3 times 8 is 24. Oh, there's my match. Notice how I got a 24. So let's circle those. If I can get my mouse to work right. So, oh, I didn't mean to switch those colors, but that's okay. It's kind of good. Oh, 24, not 30, not 30. 24 and 24. So that is my match. That's what I'm going to use for my least common multiple, bottom denominator. Called the least common denominator. So 24. So then I say 6 times what gives me 24? Times 4, right? 6 times 4 gives me 24. So on the top, I'm going to multiply by 4, correct. 5 times 4 is 20. On the bottom, I say 8 times what is 24. 8 times 3 is 24. So I'm going to multiply the top number by 3. And 1 times 3 is just 3. And now I can subtract. I subtract only the numerators. 20 minus 3, that should give me 17. My bottom number stays at 24. And the answer is 17/24. Okay? I think you'll do great on these. So now it's your turn to give it a try. Pause the video, do the problems on the Google form, and then come back. Okay, welcome back. Now we are on the second part here. We're still going to be subtracting with unlike denominators, but now we're going to have to reduce the fractions. So we're adding another step, but you've done this with adding, so it should be okay. So we have 5/6 minus 3/9. Notice the bottom numbers are not the same, so I first have to change the bottom numbers. My arrow is pointing to the wrong thing. It should be pointing to the 6, not the 5. And 3, it should be pointing to the 9, but that's okay. So we have to find the least common multiple. In this case, it's 18. Now, why is it 18? Well, we count by 6's. So we have 6, 12, 18. We count by 9's. We have 9, 18. There's our match, 18 and 18. So that's where that comes from. And we have to multiply 6 times 3 to get 18. So we're going to have to multiply 5 times 3 on the top to give us 15. On the bottom, we're going to do 18 again. So 9 times what is 18? Right, times 2. And 3 times what is 18? 3 times you have to multiply by 2. What am I saying? 3 times 2 is 6. Okay. Now we can subtract 15 18s minus 6 18s. Subtract only the numerators. 15 minus 6 should be 9. Well, I'm doing it over here just because sometimes it's good to take the numerators apart from the denominator when you subtract, just to see what happens. Otherwise, it can get confusing. So 15 minus 6, cross off the 1, make it a 0. The 5 is going to become 15. 15 minus 6, same thing, is 9. So 9 18ths. The bottom number is going to stay 18ths, but notice now I can reduce 9 18ths. It needs to be put in lowest terms, called simplifying, called reducing. All of those terms mean the same thing. How do I reduce it? I find the greatest common factor of 9 and 18. How do I find the greatest common factor? Well, I list all the factors of 9, 1 times 9, and 3 times 3. And then I list all the factors of 18, and then I find the biggest match. So I have 1 times 18. There's more for 18, isn't there? I have 2 times 9, and I have 3 times 6. So I find which are common, and I can see that my common ones are going to be 1s, which is never the biggest, right? 3, sometimes it is. 3, and then 9s. So which one is the biggest? 9, right? So I'm going to divide my top and my bottom by 9, the greatest common factor. So we found that. We're going to divide by 9 on top, divide by the same thing on the bottom. So 9 divided by 9 equals 1, and 18 divided by 9 equals 2. So that should be 1/2, and that is our answer. 9 18ths in lowest terms is equal to 1/2. Okay, let's do another one. This time, let's have you pause the video and try this one, and then see if you got it right. So pause the video and try this. 6 7ths minus 2 6ths. Okay. All right, hopefully you paused the video, and now we're going to find the least common multiple. So how do we find that? We count by 7s and 6s. 7s are equal to 7, 14, 21, 4 times 7 is 28, 5 times 7 is 35, 6 times 7 is 42, 7 times 7 is 49, 8 times 7 is 56. Oops. And I think we'll have enough. And then the 6s, we're going to count by 6, 12, 18, 4 times 6 is 24, 5 times 6 is 30, 6 times 6 is 36, 7 times 6 is 42, and there's our match, 42. So we're going to use 42s. So notice how also 6 times 7 is 42, so you could just do that as well. So 42. So 7 times 6 is 42 times the top by 6. 6 times 6 is not 54. 6 times 6 is 36. I wonder if this is going to mess up my whole thing now. Let's put 36 in here. Might. We'll see. And then on the bottom, we're going to use 42 as well. So 6 times 7 is 42. So I'm going to times by 7 here and get 14. And now I'm going to subtract 36 minus 14. And I'm sure it's going to be wrong now because I wrote the wrong number. So let's see what happens. Yeah, I have the wrong number. So I'm going to do the right number. Cross that off. So it's going to be 36 minus 14. And my whole thing's probably going to be off, but we'll see. 36 minus 14 is 2. 6 minus 4, and then 3 minus 1 is 2. So 22 is is going to be the top number, and 42 will be the bottom. Let's see what happens when I press all these numbers here. Ignore that. So that's really going to be 22, and the bottom is 42. So now we can reduce 22 over 42. And it's probably going to be wrong, what it says, because it's got the wrong number there. So let's find the greatest common factor of 22. 1 times 22, well, 1 times 22. Let me go back here. 1 times 22. And 2 times 11. I believe that is all that works with 22. And then with 42, is 1 times 42. It's 2 times what? 2 times 21. And 3 will work. 3 will go into 42. And if I don't know it, I can go 42 divided by 3. 4 goes in, or 3 goes into 4 once. 4 minus 3 is 1. Bring down the 2. 3 goes into 12 4 times. So 3 times 14. I'm probably going to run out of space here. I'm going to scrunch it in there. 4 doesn't work, does it? No. 5 doesn't work. 6 works. 6 times 7 is 42. I'm just squeezing them down here. 6 times 7. And then does 8 work? No. 9, no. 10, no. 11, 12. Then we're going back past that to 14. So that's all of them. So now let's find the biggest. Circle all the same ones, the 1s, the 2s. Anything else? Double check. Nope. So 2 is the biggest. So I'm going to clear my drawings. Except that I want to keep this one because it's a 22. Okay, so I'm going to divide by 2. Let's see what the computer shows me here when I do this. So we're dividing top and bottom by 2. Yay, that one worked. But the number is at the end is going to be wrong. So 22 divided by 2 is going to give me 11. And on the bottom, 42 divided by 2 is going to give me 21. So this top number should be 11. 11 over 21. That is in lowest terms. 11 over 21. I must have forgot to change a number before doing this slide. So there's your answer. 11 to over 21. Okay, clear? Let's do another one. 24 over 26 minus 3/13. You can stop the video, try it first, and then come back. This one should work. Okay, what is my least common multiple of 26 and 13? Well, 26, because 13 times 2 is 26. So this will just stay 24 over 26, and the bottom one will be 13 times 2. Then I have to times the top number by 2 and get 6. Now I can subtract. 24 minus 6 is, we can do it over here on the side. 2 becomes a 1. 4 becomes a 14. 14 minus 6 is 8. 1 minus nothing is 1, so it should be 18. You can always write it on the left side there and get your answer. 18, and the bottom number stays at 26. And now I know that 18 over 26 can be reduced to lowest terms. How do I know that? Because there's an even number on top and an even number on the bottom. I know at least 2 will divide into that. And I'm pretty sure 2 is the only number that divides into that for both. So let's divide 18 by 2 and 26 by 2, the greatest common factor of both. What do we get? 9 over 13. That is the lowest terms for 18 over 26. It's an equivalent fraction. Okay, hopefully you got that. Now it's your turn to give that a try. See you back. Okay, welcome back. Let's continue. Now we're going to subtract mixed numbers and reduce. 7 and 100 over 105 minus 5 over 2/3. Okay, here's the rules. Use the least common multiple to find the common denominator of 105 and 3. Subtract the numerators. Reduce to lowest terms by dividing the numerator and denominator by the greatest common factor. Okay, what's the least common multiple of 105 and 3? Well, I can tell already because this is a 3, it can't be more than 3. So why do I know that? Because if I was to count by 105s, it'd be 105, and then it'd be 210. I'm going to stop there. If I count by 3s, it's going to be 3, 6, 9, 12. I'm going to have to keep going all the way to 105. So I'm not going to do that because I noticed that it was 100 and it was 3. So, 105, I'm sorry, not 3. So 3 times what gives me 105? Well, this one on top is going to stay 100 over 105, and the bottom, it's going to be 35. How did I know that? Well, I did this initially. I went 105, and I divided it by 3 to see what the number was. So 3 goes into 10 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. 10 minus 9 is 1. Bring down the 5. 3 goes into 15 5 times. 3 times 5 is 15. And then I would subtract and get 0. So there's where my 35, that's supposed to be a 5. That's where my 35 came from. So I have to multiply my top number by 35. So 35 times 2. And if I don't know what that is, I can always use multiplication off to the side and do 35 times 2. 2 times 5 is 10. Carry my 1. 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1 is 7. So it should be 70. And there it is. Now I can subtract 100 minus 70. So I'm going to do that on the left here. 100 minus 70. So 0 minus 0 is 0. And then it's just 10 minus 7 is 3. So it'll be 30 over 105. Notice how I can reduce 30 over 105. I have to figure out what's the biggest number that will go into both 30 and 105. How do I figure that out? Well, I list all the factors of 30 and all the factors of 105. So 1 times 30 is a lot, right? 2 times 15, 3 times 10, and 5 times 6. It's going to be a lot for 105. Put the commas in there. And then 105 is going to be 1 times 105. There's going to be a ton of them here. 2 will not work. 3 will work. We already decided it was 3 times 35. 4 isn't going to work. Maybe not too many will work. 5 will work. 5 times what gives me 105? Well, if I don't know, I just go like this, 105, and I divide by 5. So 5 goes into 10 twice. 2 times 5 is 10. 10 minus 10 is 0. Bring down my 5. 5 goes into itself once. 5 times 1 is 5. I'll be at a 0 remainder, so 21. 5 times 21. Maybe there aren't that many. And then 6 doesn't work. 7 doesn't work. 8 doesn't work. 9 doesn't work. 10 will work. 10 times 15. Right? Oh, I don't know. Let's see. Maybe 10 doesn't work. 105. Oh, no, 10 isn't going to work. Never mind on the 10. And I think that's it. So what's the biggest? Looks like it's going to be 5. 5 is going to be the biggest. So let's bring that out. Oh, 15? Did I miss one? Oh, there must have been a 15 in there. Oh, 105 divides by 15. I wouldn't have known that off the top of my head. Okay, so if I divide 105 by something, if I divide it by 15, what do I get? Well, 15 times 2 is 30, 15 times 4 is 60, and then 75, and then 90. So 105 divided by 15, 7. So I could have put one more there. I could have put 7 and 15 here. That one I didn't know. But here's the thing. If I just thought it was 5, I could divide by 5, and then I would have to reduce the second time. So that's always the thing. If you don't find the biggest, that's okay. You can always just reduce it twice. Once you get one of the numbers in there, and then you do it again, you'll get to the lowest terms either way. So divide by 15. And you get 30 divided by 15 is 2. And 105 divided by 50, we just decided was 7. So 2/7. Then we subtract, don't forget now, new step, subtract the 7 minus the 5. That gives us 2. Now we combine 2 with the 2/7, and our answer is 2 and 2/7. Okay, lots more steps, but we just did one more new step. Okay, let's do this again. 51 and 18 over 21 minus 19 and 2/7. First, we have to change the bottom numbers to be the same. The least common multiple is 21. So the top number will stay 18 21s. The bottom, we're going to 7 times 3. So we're going to do 2 times 3, and we're going to get 6. We're going to subtract 18 minus 6, 12, 21s. Notice that that's not in lowest terms. We can reduce that. We can divide the top and the bottom by 3. So there we go. 12 divided by 3 is 4, and 21 divided by 3 is 7. So 4/7, and our last part is to subtract 51 minus 19. So here we go. We're going to cross off the 5 and make it a 4. The 1 will become an 11. 11 minus 9 is 2. 4 minus 1 is 3. And then we combine our whole number and our fraction. 32 and 4/7 to get our mixed number and our answer. Okay. Keep going. One more time. 73 and 4/5 minus 25 and 3/9. Change the bottom number. What's going to work? I believe it's going to be 45. So 5 times 9 is 45. And 4 times 9 is 36. On the bottom, 9 times 5 is 45. So 3 times 5 is 15. Subtract 36 minus 15 is 21 45ths. Notice how we can reduce this. The greatest common factor of 21 and 45, I happen to know, is 3. No surprises there. 21 divided by 3 is 7. What about 45 divided by 3? Well, if I don't know it, 45, oops, not that. 45 divided by 3, I go like this. How many 3's go into 4? 1. 3 times 1 is 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. Bring down the 5, 15. How many 3's go into 15? 5. So 3 times 15. So 45 divided by 3 is equal to 15. So my bottom number will be a 15, and my top number is a 7. Okay, now I have to subtract the whole numbers. So let's subtract 73 minus 25. 7 becomes a 6. The 3 right here becomes a 13. 13 minus 5 is 8. 6 minus 2 is 4. So now I combine 48 and 7/15. And that is my answer. Yay! So it gets a little harder, but not too much. Okay, give it a try. See you back in a minute. Okay, welcome back. We're going to be borrowing with mixed numbers with unlike denominators again. This time borrowing, right? So we're going to do 1/4 minus 1/2 and then 18 minus the 5. So we have to find a common denominator. So 4 will be the common denominator. This will just stay 1/4. The bottom will be 2 times what gives me 4 times 2. And this will be multiplied by 2. So 2/4. Uh-oh, I have a problem. 2 is bigger than 1. I can't subtract a 2 from a 1, can I? No, we cannot subtract the fraction because the numerator on the top is smaller than the numerator on the bottom. So we have to borrow. So here we go. We need to borrow from the whole number. We have an 18, so we're going to borrow 1. So we're going to cross that off and make that 17. We're going to take the 1 that we borrowed and bring it over to the fraction side. Here's our 1, but we don't want to call it 1 because we have to subtract it from a fraction. So what is another name for 1? We're going to rename it as a fraction of, let's pick 4 over 4. Why did I pick 4 over 4? because I already have a 4 on the bottom here, so my best bet is to use 4 over 4. Now I can subtract, right? Add the oh, no I can't. Why? Because I still have a 1/4 here, don't I? So I have to add the 4/4 and the 1/4. I just can't forget that this is already here, right? I'm adding a 1, but I also have this. So let's add them together. 1/4 plus 4/4 is equal to 5/4. And yes, it's improper, but that's okay. That's what we want. And then I'm just going to move this 2/4 over. So I just moved it underneath the 5/4. And now I can subtract. 5 minus 2 is 3/4, right? And you might say, oh, after all of that, I'm done, right? Nope, don't forget, you got these whole numbers over here to subtract. So we got to do those yet. So subtract the whole numbers. 17 minus 5 is 12. And now we combine the 17 or the 12 and the 3/4. So our final answer is 12 and 3/4. Okay, just add in another step, the borrowing step. This one would be a good one to re-watch or to re-look at on the slides so you can see all the steps. Okay, let's do it again. 12 and 1/16 minus 2 and 2/4. Find a common denominator. What's it going to be? 16, right? So if you don't know, find the least common multiple. So the top one is going to stay 1/16 because that's already in 16s. This one is going to be 4 times what gives me 16. 4 times 4. Multiply the top number by 4 as well. And that'll give me 8. And now I would normally be subtracting, but notice how the 8 is bigger than the 1. So I can't just subtract. I have to borrow. So I'm going to borrow from the 12. It's going to become an 11. I'm going to bring 1 over to the fraction side that I borrowed. I'm going to rename it and not call it a 1. What am I going to call it? Well, I have a 16 on the bottom, so I'm going to call it 16 over 16, because that means 1. But notice I've also got this 1/16 already here, so I have to add the 2 together now. Add the renamed fraction to the fraction that's already there. 1/16 plus 16/16 is going to give me 17/16. And now I can bring over that 8/16 and just line it up underneath and subtract. 17 minus 8 should give me 9/16. Now don't forget, you still got the whole numbers over here, so 11 minus 2. That should be 9. And then I combine 9 with the 9/16. 9 and 9/16. Okay, got it? Good. See another one. So the bottom numbers are different. We're going to use 20 for our least common multiple. 4 times 5 is going to give me 20, and 2 times 5 is going to give me 10. On the bottom, it's going to be 5 times 4 is going to give me 20. So 4 times 4 is going to give me 16. Notice how my bottom number 16 is bigger than my top number 10. I can't take 16 from 10, so I have to borrow. Borrow from the 20, make it a 19, bring 1 over, rename the 1. What am I going to rename it? Well, I have a 20 on the bottom, so should I rename it 20 over 20? Exactly, so 20 over 20. Now I have to add this 20 over 20 to the 10/20ths that's already there. So let's add that together. 10/20ths plus 20/20ths is going to give me 30/20ths. And now I'm just going to move 16/20ths underneath and subtract. So 30 minus 16 should give me 14/20ths. All right. Now, notice something. We have to reduce 14/20ths by 2, right? We have to divide the top and the bottom by 2, the greatest common factor. So divide top and bottom by 2. 14 divided by 2 is 7. 20 divided by 2 is 10. Okay, we had to reduce that time. And now after all of that, don't forget, we still have to subtract 19 from 3. 19, 18, 17, 16, right? So 16, and now we combine. 16 and 7/10. There we go. Remember to combine the reduced fraction, not the unreduced fraction. Okay, I think there might be another one. Yep, let's try another one. Okay, find a common denominator. We're going to use 12. 12 is going to be, oh, I used 24. I could have used, no, could I use 12? Yeah, I could have used 12, couldn't I? Because 2 times 6 is 12, and 3 times 4 is 12. But I used 24, and that's okay. So 6 times 4 is 24, so 2 times 4 is 8. Down here, 4 times 6 is 24, and 3 times 6 is 18. Now I can't subtract because 18 is bigger than 8. So I have to borrow. I borrow from the 2. The 2 will become a 1. I bring 1 over. I have to rename it as 24 over 24. And then I have to add that to the 8/24 that's already there. So I encourage you to go back and look at these slides. So 8 plus 24 is equal to 36 24s. And then I'm going to put the 18 24s underneath and subtract. Now I can subtract 36 minus 18. That will give me 18 24s. Now I can reduce this. I'm going to divide the top and the bottom by 6. 18 divided by 6 is 3. 24 divided by 6 is 4. 3/4. Now I can't forget over here, I've got to subtract my whole numbers. So they would just be 1 minus 1, which is 0, right? So I really don't have any whole numbers left. So my answer finally is just going to be 3/4. So we're going to just eliminate the 0. We don't need to put that there. It'll just be 3/4. Yay! Okay, it is your turn to give these harder ones a try. Okay, welcome back. We're on focus on higher order thinking. One container holds 1 7/8 quarts of water, and a second container holds 5 3 quarts of water. How many more quarts of water does the second container hold than the first? So this is a subtraction question. Are we going to add or subtract? I just told you we're going to subtract. The keywords are how many more, which fraction is written on the top. The bigger fraction, right? Because it is the bigger one. Always put the number that is bigger on the top when you subtract. So, what on earth is that number? 5 3 4. Oh, 5 3/4. So the 5 is separated from the 3/4. Computer error. Okay, so let's subtract. Get the bottom number, 8. 4 times 2 is 8. 3 times 2 is 6. And then the bottom one just stays 7/8. We can't subtract 7 from 6. We have to borrow from the 5, make it a 4, bring 1 over, and the 1 will be called 8/8. And we're going to add that to the 6/8. That'll give us 14/8. And we're going to bring 7/8 underneath it and subtract. We're going to get 7/8. Now we subtract the whole numbers. 4 minus 1 is 3. And our final answer is 3 7/8 quarts. Okay, your homework is on Google Classroom, and I will see you next time. Bye.